Hi, welcome to Hospitality Live with Rupesh. Each week, we feature an industry leader that will share the latest trends and the best strategies to help you grow. Now, welcome your host, Rupesh Patel.
We are live. Cut this music out. Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm super excited about this conversation today, and let me cut this background music out. That way I can hear you guys and I can see you and I can see my special guest. Guys, welcome to the show. This is episode number 42, Hospitality Live with me, Rupesh. I'm excited again this week because we have some value-packed information for you, your staff, and your guests, and how to make connections. So this week's episode is Road to Recovery, how to use hospitality words and emotions to make stronger connections. We all need this right now, I think. So comment if you think we actually need this, because we talk about emotions and we've been through a lot. We've been through a roller coaster these last few weeks or months now. And I feel like we're all over the place. Guys, comment and let us know where you're watching from. I love hearing and seeing where everybody's watching from. So I think I see a bunch of people. Guys, welcome to the show. Oh man, people from all over the place. Oh, Orlando, hey, my hometown. Stuart, Florida. Guys, comment, let us know where you're watching from. Good morning to Jamie, Christopher, John, Leslie, Sandra, Lord, Keith. Guys, welcome. Roger, welcome. Laura, thank you so much for watching and being a part of this conversation. Today is going to be something that might give you some tears. Maybe, or make you happy, right? And I love that we're talking about emotions because, listen, we all go through roller coasters, up and down. Now with the economy dropping, we're in hospitality. We don't know what's going on as far as like business, and are we going to be busy tomorrow or are we not? It's like day by day, right? And emotions mean everything, and the words we say and how we communicate means everything, especially right now where you have this opportunity. And I've been coaching quite a few people this last month now, and I could see that people need help and people are interested in learning. And congratulations to all the people that took all these courses. I love seeing all the course completion certifications that have been popping up. So guys, welcome to the show. And everyone's crying right now. Hey, listen, I understand people are furloughed. They've lost their jobs. I've seen people post saying, hey, I was furloughed, and then all of a sudden they laid me off. This is real. This is super real. And we all just have to stay strong, and we all have to help each other, support each other, and really, keep going. Because if we stop, you lose momentum. And that's a huge part of our conversation today. So we're talking about words, we're talking about emotions, and we're also talking about how we can keep going. So guys, this episode is brought to you, and let me pull this up real quick. This episode is brought to you by, and let me take this banner off too. All right, brought to you by smartguests.com. If you need hotel operations, marketing, customer service, getting more reviews, and you need tools to help you as you continue opening up, use smartguests.com's tools to help you grow, help you get better reviews. We have over 4,200 hotels now, or actually over that, 43 that are using this within the United States. And guys, thank you so much. This is actually my company that is sponsoring this month's episode. And we've had so many orders this past few weeks. And thank you to all the people that have reordered, because you're opening back up, and this is an opportunity now for you to improve. And for the new people that don't know about this, come check out the website. It's awesome. We have a lot of tools. I have a blog that I post all these articles about how to improve customer service, marketing, operations, similar stuff that I post here on LinkedIn. I have it in written format on my blog. So you can go to smartguests.com, under resources, find the blog there. We've had over 100,000 reads per article, which is awesome. And I'm going to share one that has gotten, I think, like 2,400 shares, which is, I'm like surprised that anybody's even interested in this stuff, but people are, and I love that we continue growing ourselves. So thank you so much to smartguests.com for sponsoring this show. And guys, by the way, I'm still promoting my website that's coming out. It's rupesh.co. So don't forget to go over there and subscribe and be notified when I launch. And it's a membership site that's going to be helping you with leadership, hospitality, and just growing your career. I love I can continue helping all of you. And it's not going to be thousands of people. It's going to be a select amount of people that I choose to enter this conversation. And I see the lawn guy here cutting the. Do you guys see him? Do you see him back there? I should do like Ellen's show, you know, where she has a lawn guy in the back and she's talking to him. I forgot his name. Anybody know what his name is? Where Ellen's like on the window knocking on the door and the guy, they're having a conversation. And then I think she brought him in or something like that too. That's my guy over there. Guys, welcome to the show. Bunch of people. I love it. There's Australia's in the house. Morocco's in the house. Oh man, Kansas City, Atlanta, Montgomery, Alabama. Guys, thank you so much. Illinois, guys, thank you so much for joining this conversation. I'm super excited about this conversation. And all right, so I share a mindset every week. And this week's mindset is keep it going, right? Let me write down what I wrote. So a few days ago, I said, years ago, I stopped wishing for things to happen to me. I stopped wishing. Like, we say, oh, I wish I could do this, or I wish I can be this person, or I wish I had this, or I wish I had this much, or I wish I could do this, or I wish I could travel here, or I wish I had this job. I said a few years ago, I stopped wishing for things to happen to me and started taking actions for the things I want to happen for myself, right? And that's a huge mindset when you think about how you're going to change your life right now and what position or what route you're going to go into. I've had to really focus and look into myself to say, listen, am I putting my 100% out there in the world? Am I doing everything I can? And a lot of people are like, oh, I did everything. I did everything. Let's get, for example, I wanted to lose weight because I was 25 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I said, I wish I could lose weight. I wish I could fit into these jeans that I wore a few years ago or whatever, or I wish I could just feel good about myself, right? And then you actually have to do it. Like, you have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym. You have to eat right. You have to keep yourself going, and you can't just do it for a few days and then stop, because it takes at least 30 days for you to see a difference, right? And some of those things. So this is not just losing weight or finding a job or making more money in your life or growing your mindset or growing your network. Same thing with LinkedIn. If you want to have thousands of followers and you want to do one thing where you can do what I'm doing, I'm happy that other people are doing the same thing I'm doing, right? This is a big world. There's billions of people out there. So don't think that just because I'm doing it, you can't do this, right? And so I say to people, or what my mindset is, like, hey, are we willing to put in the effort? Like, I could quit. Like, I have so many things going on today. I could be like, you know what? I don't have time for the show, or I don't have time for this one thing, so I'm not going to do it. It's in our mind. Yeah, we're tired. Yeah, we're frustrated. Yeah, we're scared, right? But you have to get over these things. And I think that's powerful when you can keep going and reach a goal. And I think writing down goals, and I had this thing that my sister bought me for my birthday a few years ago, and it was writing goals in your shower, because you come up with the best ideas in the shower. Does anybody agree? Has anybody come up with like a really good idea? Actually, smartguests.com came through a shower experience that I had like 7 years ago. I said my hotel's struggling with reviews, or maybe 9 years ago. And I was like, hey, I'm struggling with reviews, and I can't do this one thing, and I need these things to make a connection. And then boom, I wrote down, I turned my shower off. I went to my notebook and I wrote down this idea of what to do. So the same thing for all of us. We can do these things by writing down goals, right? Writing down these things that we want to do. And guess what? You can write these huge goals down, and one day it might happen, right? Which I always say, everything I've asked for in my life, I've received. And I'm not sure if that's like, if you feel like it's woo-woo, or like over the top, but it's happened to me. And I'm like, how did that happen, right? And I feel like it's just being focused and being persistent, like people are saying. I think it's just keeping it going. And I think it's like, if you fail, and I failed thousands of times, not thousands, like hundreds of times on different ideas that I want, and I put it out there and it doesn't work out, but guess what? I don't feel bad for myself. Same thing when I'm trying to get a guest on and they can't get on because of timing or scheduling, or I called a company and they couldn't be on because maybe they didn't believe in me, right? Or they didn't believe that I have a following, whatever. I just kept going. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe in the future I'll have it again, and I kept it positive. So this is one thing, and I'm reading the comments. Christine, yeah. I think it's powerful when we can have this mindset of keep going and inspiring each other and keep going. So that's kind of my thing right here. Comment, and guys, we're giving away before I continue, we're going to give away during this session, before the session's over, we're going to give away a free book from our featured guest and a EQ assessment and an energy leadership assessment for you. This is all free from our featured guests. And so guys, comment, let us know where you're listening from. And then do you write down goals? So this is one thing that we could talk about in the comments. The most engaging person, I'm picking one person this time, is going to win Christine's book and Paula's assessments, which are valued at probably a lot of money, right? And I want to make sure that you guys get that. So the most engaging person here on the show is going to be picked, and I'm going to be looking over here to see who that person is. And guys, so comment and let us know, and hit the like button right now and show your support for this episode. All right, so we're 10 minutes in the show. Let's get on to the show, guys. Today we're talking about the road to recovery, right? How to use hospitality words and emotion to make stronger connections, right? It's a huge thing. So let me bring on my guest and I'll introduce you to them. Everybody knows Christine Trippi. She's a hospitality consultant and best-selling author, and her book, Yes is the Answer, has have a lot of people you've been watching and listening and buying her books. I'm super excited to have her come on and share her expertise in this field. And then let me bring on Christine. Hey, Christine. And then our special guest here with emotions and leadership. It is Paula. I told I was gonna get this wrong, but I'm gonna get it right. It's Rauenbuehler. And hold up, did I get it right, Paula?
Pretty close, yeah.
Pretty close. How do I say your name?
It's Rauenbuehler.
Rauenbuehler. She has over 30 years of experience as a leader in HR with passion for bringing out the best in others. Over the years, she's had opportunities to explore the U.S. and Caribbean as a HRD, director in hospitality industry. And so we're going to talk about emotions, and we're going to talk about these leadership habits and how to communicate as a conversation. So let's see how we could do this there you go. I finally got it right. All right, so we're talking about emotions. We're talking about communication, which we all need. And I feel like the biggest problem most hotels have when it comes to guests, when it comes to our staff, and when it comes to ourselves is that communication. Things always break down. You might get a bad review, or that staff member quits because there was no proper communication and making people feel or just understanding them. So let's get into this conversation about emotions, because I think that's where we start, and then we can lead into words. And Paula, please share your background real quick, and then Christine, we'll go with you too.
Sure. Yeah. Like Rupesh said, I've got, 30 some years as an HR director in hotels, all different brands, several states. I kind of lost count how many times I've moved. But in every place, hospitality exists. And so it's a really great way to experience the country. But it's also really interesting how hospitality changes from location to location, is the little nuances of how it's done, not what it's done. And so while each move had the same title, there was still a tremendous amount to learn about individuals and how people communicate and how really to connect with people. And then about 5 years ago, I went for a coaching certificate, and it literally transformed how I did HR 100%. And I couldn't get enough of it. And so last year decided to strike out on my own and be in a place where I can serve more people in a way that helps them be the best leader that they can be. And so started my own business, Leading Up Coaching, and we're off to the races.
Awesome. And Christine, I feel like you have the same energy I do. My wife thinks I'm crazy. My family thinks I'm crazy, and I think we feel or share the same sentiment as far as like energy level, right? Yeah. They're like, go back to sleep. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like vacuuming. So explain, Christine, what you do and your background.
Well, it's so funny, Rupesh, because I love being on with you. And this is, by the way, my 3rd time being on Hospitality Live. I might be your most returned guest.
Where is my bell? I got to ring this bell for this one.
Wait, and I have my yes button.
Ooh.
But I know, and not only that, I literally hear trying to contain my energy, because I've been in home isolation for about 85 days now. So a person with this much energy, I can't wait to talk hospitality. But I am a award-winning hospitality leader for 33 years, and I'm the author of best-selling book, Yes is the Answer. I can't wait to talk about words today. And I consult, I do coaching, I training, keynote speaking. That I do all that fun stuff. And just January 1st, I left Marriott International to go all in on my business, The Wise Pineapple, which, what a great year to do that, everybody.
I've heard that from a lot of people, including myself. Like, hey, I used to travel like a couple times a month, going to different hotels and teaching them and inspiring them, and all of a sudden you're not allowed to fly.
Yes, but it's still great. No regrets at all. I'm loving it, and I'm loving doing virtual events and doing virtual coaching. So it's still awesome being able to serve any way I can.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's get into this conversation. We're talking about emotions, and Paula, we'll start with you. How do we use emotions to kind of make a stronger connection with our staff, our teams, and then maybe even understanding ourselves? What can you share as far as growing out of what we've been through these last few months?
Sure. And I'll start off with the only person that gets hurt in a roller coaster is the one that gets off. When they unleash themselves and they try to get off mid-ride, those are the people that get hurt. And every single emotion serves a purpose for us. Even those dark emotions where you feel like a victim or you feel angry, there are benefits to that in realizing and recognizing, okay, what does this emotion serve me? And then where do I want to go from here? So I'll often ask my clients so what, now what? So they tell me where they are, and it's like, okay, so what about that? And now what do you want to do with that? And people are often surprised with anger that there's a lot of positive energy behind that. And if you can transform that into, okay, how do I make this something worth fighting for rather than just fighting? And all of a sudden you move to the positive energy realm. Rather than just being angry and playing victim, you can say, okay, so what are we going to do about it? And that's where, I think some of these emotions people don't necessarily recognize, and they always want people to be happy. They want people to feel good. But that doesn't just happen. There's actually, some science behind it. It's getting out of that primitive brain, the amygdala, and recognizing when you're hijacked to say, okay, consciously, what do I do to move out of that? And there's some strategies to say, okay, if I'm here, how do I get here? Those types of things. But it takes really being aware of where you are, and then working on being aware of where somebody else is and understanding the nuances of those emotions. Because Rupesh, I had sent you an image on just a whole wheel of emotions. And
let me pull it up.
Yeah, anger has 10 subwords, and then there's 15 after that. So somebody who's angry, they could be frustrated, they could be humiliated. And when you're able to really kind of identify and get from them, okay, what are you really feeling here, in a way that gets them to open up, then you can actually get to some solutions. And taking a look at, the opposite side of the yellow is happy. And look at all the different words. There's certainly much more words for happy than there is for anger. But I think it's really taking the time to understand where people are coming from, and then understanding that you lead with the energy that you bring into the room. So I can certainly sit with you in your anger, and we can both be angry together, or I can see this as an opportunity to listen to you, show empathy, make a personal connection to hopefully lift you out where we can get to solutions. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of explain this wheel here. What is this wheel called?
This is just a wheel of emotions. I actually got it off of Pinterest, but as coaches, we use this quite a bit, just so that we can really get to what does a client really feel. So if you take a look at fearful, if somebody's scared, they're in that amygdala. And when you're in that fear state, you cannot hear what other people are saying. The chatter in your mind is so loud. You're not the guest service agent who's trying to empathize with you. If I'm still in that fear state, it's like the teacher from Peanuts. So I need to get that person out of the fear to get them to a place where they're at least open to listening. And the way you get somebody out of fear is to really help them understand, well, what does that fear represent? What is that fear really trying to tell you? Because I think it's something like 8 seconds is the chemical reaction in your brain for any emotion. And then after that, you're just riding the roller coaster. So you can choose what to do with that chemical reaction after. But if you don't recognize that fear, there's no way you're going to move that person out of it. So you need to kind of identify, why is this person upset? Are they disappointed? Are they angry? Are they frustrated? Are they really irritated? Or, is it contempt? All those different things to try to identify, okay, now where's my door in to ask a really powerful question to help them get up even just one level above, even a little bit into that prefrontal cortex for them to start seeing the possibilities.
Okay, I like this. All right, so I'm looking at the angry side and then going down to like let down, bitter, mad, frustrated. And then beyond that, it's like hostile, provoked, jealous, furious. How do you take that and then take it to the yellow, to the happy side? How do you like convert them over, or at least try to understand why they're angry? Because I know it's guests walking in like, hey, my AC didn't work and I was sweating all night. Or their staff didn't show up to work because something happened on their side or their own family, and now they have been terminated, but you're kind of going through it like I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out like if it was guests or staff, like how do you understand their anger and kind of help them out?
First, you need to really acknowledge it and validate it. And this is a valid emotion. We are emotional beings, and we are meant to experience all these emotions. If we move too quickly out of it, it ends up festering, and it's going to come out in a different way that isn't really attached to anything else. If anybody's repressed their emotions and they're having a conversation with somebody and it's a happy one, all of a sudden they like burst into tears, like, where the heck did that come from? Yeah. You need to really, truly empathize and let them express it, because some guests, they really just want to vent, right? They're not necessarily looking for anything, but they want somebody to listen to them. And if you move too quickly to solution, there's like, wait a minute, my point to come to you is because I wanted you to just hear how frustrated I was. And I know that I can't get my night's sleep back, but I want you to hear my frustration. And then once you can get them, kind of when you feel like they're, okay, do I have everything out that I need to go to a solution, is maybe it's not even all the way to happy. Maybe it's just surprised to say, oh, well, I didn't realize that might have been the answer. Because part of emotional intelligence is a reality check. Is that really what's happening? And maybe they didn't realize that, hey, there was a citywide power outage. I didn't even know that. That's why the AC was out, those types of things. But to kind of ease them to a place to say, okay, where can we get to a solution? What is it that you're looking for that will satisfy you? And letting it go, my ego of, I'm right, I'm the hospitality professional, my way is the right way, I know exactly the answer that you need, is release that ego to have them guide you as what's really important to them. And again, you go into that acknowledging and validating of, you know what, that's a really great solution. I can see how it serves all your needs. And, validating, is this the proper course of action to solve their problem? And so it's really making sure that you connect with them and make sure that they know what you're saying. And that you hear really what they're saying. So it might take a little bit of digging, and that might be a little bit uncomfortable. But I think once people know that you're really listening, my experience, at least on the employee side, when they knew that I was truly listening, the conversation calmed down. And there was a point in time that I could say, you know what, at 5.10 seconds, the conversation shifted. And we were actually having a conversation versus a venting. And it's sizable when you come in with the right energy and the right intention.
Right. So can we ask those questions that make them feel that we're understanding or listening to them? But like I've heard, like, if you repeat something that they said last, and that so that they understand that you're listening, or within the conversation, like, oh, so you're let's just say they say that I'm upset because of somebody did something or the guest yelled at them. I could see that you're upset with that, the guy did yell at you, and I know how you feel. Like, are those the words that we should be using?
Yeah, definitely, use their words when they're using emotional words. Also add, if you're interpreting them in certain ways, say, am I correct in interpreting it this way, so that they can guide you. I would hesitate to say, I know how you feel, because you weren't standing exactly in my shoes. You're a little bit to the left, you're a little bit to the right, you're up above, but you can still acknowledge and say, you know what, it makes perfect sense that you're upset that your AC was out all night. You know what, we're in Orlando, it's hot, it's humid. You know what, you know, it's perfectly understandable just how frustrated you are. Let's talk about how we can, you know, what would make it right for you? You know, what are some options? And really just using their words, and trying to, you know, understand that they're in your shoes, but also understand that their emotion is their own, because you can't own that. If I try to take it away, it won't be authentic, it won't be real, and it won't be theirs. I need to let them feel their emotion and then be able to connect with them in that realm.
Yeah, and Christine, now you've had your share of guests coming to the front desk and just being upset, or they weren't happy. Maybe we do like a role play or something like that, where maybe it worked, like you can understand real life, like how this kind of is playing out. You guys, you want to do that? Should we try that?
Sure, why not?
All right, Christine, you're an upset guest. Let me take this off. Hang on. All right, so you're. Okay, so Christine, you're an upset guest. You come to the front desk, and Paula, you're the front desk associate or the GM or the office manager. And how do we kind of go back and forth? And I'm going to have you two go ahead and explain it. All right.
All right. So I'm going to give you the scenario. I'm coming to the front desk, and I am so upset because I am a platinum member, and don't I get free breakfast?
You know what? You're right, Christine. In normal circumstances, free breakfast is part of the platinum program. You know, it sounds like there might be a little bit more behind this. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're thinking here?
That is one of the number one upset questions we get at especially a Courtyard hotel, because it's one of the only brands that you do not get free breakfast at Courtyard. So that was one of our top problems, where guests would say, I'm platinum, don't I get free breakfast?
So is that accurate? Because I don't have.
But they don't.
They don't. Oh, okay.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay.
And if I may, I'll get into it. I just have so much I want to offer.
Okay. Okay. So, you know, it's perfectly understandable. I mean, you know, people say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and certainly having that expectation, you know, certainly is common. It is a pretty common benefit in a lot of hotels. Unfortunately, Platinum doesn't offer it. But how could we talk about what might make you feel more valued as a Platinum member? The things that we could do for you to help your day start off at least a little bit better starting from now.
Mm-hmm. Just thanks for that explanation.
Okay. You know, but I understand you're still upset. Is there still something else that we might be able to do? You know, because we value you as a customer.
Yes.
And even if there isn't, you know, a commonality here, we still want to make things right for you. So is there something else that we might be able to do?
Right, and asking that, and this is actually one of my favorite example scenarios I use with yes is the answer. And for me, it's always starting with making friends first. So the first thing that I say to you is, I'm platinum, don't I get free breakfast? And so the first thing I want to do is recognize that elite status and make friends first and build a relationship. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for being a Platinum Elite member. You mean so much to us. As part of your elite benefits, you receive X, Y, and Z. However, I can place breakfast right on your room for you. Now, in most scenarios, most associates will say, I'm sorry, unfortunately, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't. And we want to stay away from those negative, disempowering words. No, I'm sorry, unfortunately. Every time you say those words, you shrink in your confidence. But if you can make friends first, tell them what you can do, and then offer options, you're going to stand tall because you'll be leading from the heart because you really want to do the best for that guest. So that's kind of my approach with it. Also, in my problem-free hotel course, I talk about problems. In every problem has 3 pieces. 1 is the actual problem, what happened. 2 is the feeling behind the piece. And 3 is the consequence of that problem. So let's just say, for example, a guest calls down and they're super mad. Hey, I requested a wake-up call and I'm going to miss my flight now. I never got my wake-up call. And I can't tell you how many times an associate might have said, oh, let me see who took your wake-up call last night. That has nothing to do with what's happening right now. That we want to play the blame game. So we want to say, oh my goodness, the problem in this moment is you're about to miss your flight. So let's get you on the flight. And then talking about how panicked he is. I know you must be so panicked. Let's get you to that flight. I'm going to arrange a car, et cetera, et cetera. And because the consequence is missing the flight. So if you can take all 3 of these actions, understand or identifying the problem, identifying the feeling the guest is having on the problem, and acknowledging their consequence, that is going to help you to turn any problem around.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I like that. And over apologizing, someone says over apologizing is never a positive, right? You're like, sorry. Then you're like, this hotel has so many problems because they just keep apologizing. And I hear that so many times. Instead of asking like, Mr. Smith, what can we do? Like, I want you, honestly, this is what I want you to be, like, leave this hotel happy as anything. Like, I'm here to make sure that you leave us super happy and that you find value in our service and our product, right? In your stay experience. And I feel like those words, like when you can ask why, you pull them in more than you kind of are, deflecting them or trying to push them away. You're pulling them in. So Paula, do you agree that those whys and kind of digging a little bit deeper into it has nothing to do, and this happens all the time. It had nothing to do with their stay, but they want to blame it on the stay. But instead, they had a bad trip over to your destination. They also might have been fighting with their wife or their, significant other, and now they're just mad. And this happens all the time. I hear when guests are complaining, and I'm listening sometimes, or I kind of pretending like I'm the guest at a hotel, and I just listen. I just spend hours in my lobby just listening to the interaction because it uncovers a lot, right? And Paula, so do you recommend like prying in a little bit more, and how do you do that?
Well, I tend to ask questions like, so what really caused this? What led up to this? So that I can get an idea of the trend, because you're right, travel is not as pleasurable as it used to be. And probably now with all of the health concerns, it's even more stressful. Flying with people with masks on and those types of things. It's really kind of helping them tell their story. It's like, so tell me what happened, what led to this? I find when I ask why, I get defensive answers, because for some reason it triggers kind of that amygdala. So I ask how questions. I ask what questions. What might have led up to this? And for somebody who's, say, coming to the desk and they're just reading off this, whole list, what I ask team members to ask themselves is, what if 2% of what they're saying is true? What if you can give them a little bit of recognition that, what their stay was not what the brand would have preferred and what the hotel would have preferred? Because it helps open up the employee's mind to say, okay, what is possible here? What might have happened that was our responsibility, without saying it's 100% our responsibility. And when you open up that door from the employee's perspective, it kind of is like, oh, okay, so maybe I can offer a little bit more genuine empathy than I certainly understand how you feel, sir. We'll make it right, sir. To say, hey, it might not have been my responsibility as the front desk agent, but it's my responsibility as an employee of this hotel. And we're all a team, and we all have a responsibility to make things right. So it's kind of opening that door to say, but yeah, drawing them in and say, well, what happened? Can you tell me what happened before that? But trying to get to the core as to like, okay, where is this coming from? Because if you can get to that emotion rather than the problem, like Christine was saying, it's not about the missed wake-up call. It's about them missing their agenda. It's about the feeling that they're having. The wake-up call is just the symptom, not the disease.
Just the symptom, not a disease.
A great example is how many times out there, all of you watching and commenting, your hospitaliers, you've been there, where a guest comes to check in and there's no reservation. And what does the front desk say? They say, do you have a confirmation number? And immediately that guest is losing their stomach. They're like, crap, now I'm not going to have a place to stay. But if we, again, being empathetic and putting our associates in these positions where they understand how the other person feels and go right into, everything is fine. We have plenty of rooms tonight. However, I'm not seeing your confirmation, so I just want to make sure it wasn't misspelled. But if you can let them know in advance before you go into, do you have a confirmation number? I don't see your reservation. And then let them freak out. Again, it's all about making friends first, letting them know they're safe and all is good, and then going into the next step.
I understand. That's awesome. Like I'm writing this down. I think it's important that we teach this to our staff. So guys, everybody that's listening, comment if this has been valuable so far. We're like 35 minutes into the show, and like these are the things that we can help teach our staff, because it's not just us as leaders understanding this, because we're not there all the time and we don't want to be there all the time, right? Understand that that's a mindset too. You can't babysit your hotel. You're there to support everybody, but you cannot babysit them, because as soon as you start babysitting, they call you every moment. You feel like you can't get away. You're stressed out. You can't have a life outside the hotel, right? A lot of people say that, like, hey, I don't have a life outside the hotel, because we're babysitting them instead of giving everybody an opportunity. And I feel that's important. And listen, trust me, I could be the first one to say I have been that guy that was there overlooking, micromanaging, and being on top of everybody. Like, are you doing this? Are you doing that? And not letting people make mistakes. And I think that's a big part of understanding and building a team and being a leader is teaching your staff, letting them understand these concepts, right? Guys, let us know if you like this. I think it's super important that we all understand these concepts as we grow, because listen, right now, it might be slow, or you might be just ramping up right now. You might have a few rooms. This is an opportunity to hone your skill on all of these different things that we're talking about. We're going to go through we're going to go through a variety of things. And we just talked about the front desk and interaction within the staff, right? But what about your team? And Paula, I'm gonna have you talk about this and the understanding the emotion of the team, because I think that's important too, because that's where it all starts. If you don't have a great team, you're not going to have happy staff or guests, right? So let's talk about how to make connections, and then we'll get into the words. I like that.
Oh, well, like you mentioned earlier. Yeah, I like that. What you mentioned earlier really is all about connecting. And connecting is all about the relationship. And who are you as a leader in relationship to your team? Are you the boss? Are you the manager? Are you the leader? Really, who do you want to be as a leader? So I was in an exercise a few weeks ago, and they asked us to list what makes a great leader. And there was intelligence, there was emotion, and then there was competence. And guess which list was the longest?
Emotions.
Yeah, it was, because it's how the leader relates with and connects with the team members. Yes, the entry fee is knowing the job description. Yes, the entry fee is having, the right background and skills and those types of things. But beyond that, what really differentiates a great leader is that emotional intelligence and how are they communicating with people.
And so it was emotions. The three things were emotions.
Yeah. Emotions, intelligence, and just competence. Do you do the tasks well? So you're writing a good schedule versus are you taking into consideration the needs of your team? And if possible, can you accommodate their needs? That's where the relationship comes in. But the story, over and over and over again, is the best leaders have a really well-formed emotional intelligence, and they know how to use the ranges of emotions so that they're not overdone and they're not underdeveloped. Because emotional intelligence really it's a norming assessment, and you can overdo empathy. And
wait. You can overdo empathy. I don't. Can you please explain that? Because sometimes I have that issue where I'm like, I get too much involved, and I feel like I went over above, and then I could feel it because I kind of been unaware of that. And I like that you said that at the beginning. Awareness is huge.
Right. Yeah. And when empathy is overdone, you are discounting your own needs. So when you pair empathy with assertiveness, and assertiveness is your ability and tendency to address things even if they might be uncomfortable for other people. Okay. So if you're weighted heavy on empathy, you may not be being assertive. And so your needs as a leader, as an operator, you might not be achieving those goals. But if you can find a way to be empathetic and assertive, imagine what that conversation would be. Right. For example, if you're holding a team member accountable for something as simple as attendance versus empathy, okay, the person doesn't get written up. Yeah, the boss was late, your kid was sick. Okay. Your team is frustrated. But if you're heavy on assertiveness, then you are that boss that everybody hates. But when you can understand, okay, how do these all play? How do these, components and subscales come into play in each individual circumstance? That's what great leaders do. They understand when they need to push the gas pedal on assertiveness and maybe back off on empathy because, you know what, I can't not follow this rule. Okay.
Right.
We can't break CDC guidelines. I'm sorry if it's more difficult for you, but how can I enter that conversation with empathy so that they understand it's not just I have to follow the rules and, doing the checklist. It's those types of things that really great leaders are able to, once they're aware of that, to say, okay, consciously, how do I want to enter into this conversation?
Okay. Yeah. I think that's important when you don't go above and beyond because you're trying to make them happy. You're trying to do all these things, but then you feel like you did too much and then it didn't work out because they didn't feel like you were authentic because you sounded fake. Right. And I think that's when you're going above the empathy line with that balance that we all talk about.
Especially when that's not genuine. If you're going above and beyond, maybe just to shut them up because I can't have this conversation any longer or once again, that's when you go overboard, people see it, people feel energy and they can read when you're being authentic and when you're just towing the line.
Okay. Awesome. All right, good. What else can we do as far as emotions with our staff? Because I think it's, like you said, it's like the number one thing right now where people have been through, it's like a roller coaster up and down of every day is different. Like I kind of explain it, or I kind of like to talk about it compared to a stock market. It goes up, then it goes down. And you're like, oh my God, I just lost all this money, but we can't panic. So here's the thing. Back in the day, I would dabble in stocks and I would put some money into a stock because I thought I was going to IPO and make me a lot of money, make me rich and I'd be done. Right. But then the same day it would go down like 50% and you're like, oh my God. And you want to sell right away because I did that for Facebook. When Facebook, long time ago, because I love social media. When Facebook was IPOing, I bought it at like $42, and I put I think $5,000 because I really believed in it because I love social media, and I was like, this is the hottest thing. The same week, it went down to like 20 something, and I'm like, oh my God, I just lost all of this money that I worked so hard for, but I didn't take the long approach, which is the mindset of, hey, you really believe in this. And it's gonna go up. It's okay. Don't relax. It's gonna be okay, right? And so, what do you think about that idea of not like rushing into your emotions?
Yeah, Christine.
I want to jump in if I can really quickly because since you're going to discuss about emotion, I want to just jump in with this comment from Krista. Krista is actually someone I've done a workshop for, and she just commented in your comments about how so many people are, especially general managers right now, they're running the whole show. Many are running on models of 2-2-2, only 2 people per shift. They're working 6 days a week. They're getting abused by many people because there's no fitness center, there's no pool, there's no breakfast. The expectations are lower. So I know one of the things Krista really wants to talk about is how do you keep that passion? How do you keep those emotions? How do you take care of yourself? So if Al, since you're going into that conversation, I thought I'd mention her comment. And I know so many of you out there are thinking and going through the same thing. So I'd love to touch on that too.
Thank you, Krista, for that comment. Yes, Paula, please explain and kind of help us out to understand.
Sure. And stress is, it impacts everybody. And I would say probably this is one of the most stressful times that anybody has had, no matter where they are, whether they're stuck at home, whether they're, still working under reduced staff. It's trying to understand, how can I use that energy for the best possible outcome? And there's some things that you're going to want to release and say, you know what, I can't do anything about this. There's some things that you want to accept, and accept is, I'm not going to be able to change this. Let's not have it hold me back. It's not worth my energy to fight it. And then something that might be really energizing is to challenge yourself. What can I do? What is under my control? How can I approach this as the leader that I want to be seen as? Because at the end of the year, most hotels are going to be selecting a leader of the year, right? Who is that leader who's going to be seen as the person who handled it well? And then this may sound really kind of weird, but how can you embrace this as an opportunity? What really is at stake here? And while you only have 2, 2, and 2, how much more time does that give you with your guests? How can you over deliver and really solidify the connection of the people that are choosing to go out and about? Because, while everybody's talking about sanitation and cleaning schedules and things like that, there's still that emotional fear. If I go outside, is everybody following it? Is everybody wearing a mask? If, I am, those types of things. If they're choosing to stay with you, that's a huge vote of confidence in you as a hotel and you as a brand. How can you embrace that and embrace them, at least virtually, as a customer, to say, we want you to come back, so that they leave saying, wow, I don't feel as stressed. They took care of me, not just my room, not just my meal, but it's taking a look at, those types of things as a resilience model of release, having something not hold you back, accept that I can't change it, challenge yourself and embrace it. That can be a really good resilience model to get you out of the victim mode, because that you're, oh my God, I'm working 6 days a week. I only have 2 people, victim. And that can serve a purpose, because you can kind of gather up. It's very self-protective, because nobody holds you accountable when you're a victim, right?
Yeah.
So it is pretty safe.
Yes.
But
it's so funny that you're talking about the victim. I'm always talking about choosing to be a Viking versus a victim. And I heard this in an owners conference, as a matter of fact. So it always has stuck with me. And here's another thing, is that fear hates action.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get to a certain place, you've got to have action. And I love this quote. I wanted to say it earlier when you mentioned your dreams, Rupesh. A dream written down becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. And what I'd like to say, don't you love that? It gives me goosebumps every time I talk about that. I love that. But fear hates action. And that is how we will become Vikings rather than being victims. What can I do? And for my Krista and for all of you out there, I know, I don't want to say I know how it feels, but I've been reading your comments on our group. I've been fielding a lot of you. I've been talking with a lot of you. I understand the frustration and the lack of passion when you're doing all you can in the middle of this pandemic and you're still getting beat up. But what I'd like to say is a couple things. One is if you are really feeling you're losing your passion and you are losing that energy to go in every day, you're just doing too much. You need to take action and you need to own it. Now, is this something where you can go, you know what? Let's bring back another player. I'm going to go down to a 4-day work week, and I'm going to step back a little bit. These are some decisions that you can make. I've got a lot of different ideas on how you can really do that, and I can talk more, but I don't want to take too much time on this. Then the other thing is understanding how you fill your bucket. If you've never heard about that book, it's called I think it's called Fill Your Bucket. I've got it right over here.
Yeah.
And it's what brings you passion. Why did you begin this to begin with? What is your mission? And I know we talk about changing the world one yes at a time and all of that, but what is the things that give you passion? How do you fill your bucket? If you are not taking care of yourself every day, you're not going to be able to take care of your teams and your guests. So you've got to stop and go, okay, how do I fill my energy bucket in order to go in each day and deliver what I need to deliver? And if you can't, because you are working 16 hours a day and 6 days a week, then you need to go, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to a 4-day work week. I'm going to bring back another person that's on furlough, and we're going to get this done the right way, in a great way. Mm-hmm. The other thing I just want to say really quickly is, all of the questions and aggravations I'm hearing people tell me that the guests are having, I don't want to say could be solved, because I know you're all doing everything you can and a very skeleton staff, but you can dramatically improve that with the communication piece to those guests. And I've got lots of ideas and thoughts on that, but ultimately, are we doing welcome emails? Are we? How does our website look? When they walk in, how is the signage? I've got a lot of different ways we can be communicating that. But if we can be proactive instead of reacting all the time. Oh, wait, the fitness center's not open. Oh, wait, the swimming pool's not open. If we can proactively let them know what we have available and what options we have for them, you're going to save yourself so much heartache. So
right. I love that. I love that and guys, this has been awesome. Like I like this. Yeah. Like we're going into like deeper into like some of these things, and I like when we do that, because that's what we should be doing with our staff. That's what we should be doing with our teams. Like going in a little bit deeper, like that 1%, that 1 extra degree or 2 degrees makes that water boil. I love that video. If you don't know, go to the video on YouTube and just type in boiling. I think it was like 111, 112 or something like that.
212.
And it just 212. Yeah, sorry, 212. And it's like a great video that I've showed in trainings. I'm like, oh my God, like you have to watch this one video, because we could be the #1 hotel in the market. We could be top ranked within our brand. We could be this one thing, but guess what? You have to work really hard to stay #1 or #2 or the top 5 pages or #1 on Google, whatever, right? It's that one. I said, guys, we're going to train here, our team. What's 1 extra degree that we can take that could get us to the top? Because maybe we aren't the award-winning hotel. We need that 1 extra degree to go over and above to make that water boil. And we've used that analogy so many times, where anytime we failed, like what's one more thing that we could do to keep stepping it up, right? Because our competition might be doing better things than we are, or this new thing that that with uncertainty of what's happening, we still need to do more than we did when we were busy last year, or 3 months ago, 4 months ago, right? So what's that 1 extra degree? And I like that we're talking about sharing these with our team too, because we're not doing this by ourselves, and I don't recommend that. And all right, so we talked about the emotional side of guests, the connection and the communications with our staff and our guests. Go back to the last few episodes on Rupesh or LinkedIn Live, and then just type in, or actually it's rupeshlive.com. You can find episodes, or my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rupesh Live. And you'll be able to go back, because we talk about the communications and how to do it right now, while you can use technology and some of those things to make people feel good and draw that emotion out when you were communicating properly, right? Paula, any last words on emotions when we're talking about service and we're talking about our team?
I think hospitality is all about how people feel. because every hotel has beds, most hotels have restaurants, things like that. But what really sets them apart is how people feel. And guests choose brands based on that. And if you can find a way for your teams to connect on that emotional level, they're going to have a much less stressful day. Your guests will be less stressed, and you'll have better results. And then I'll just add to what Christine was saying about activity. That activity is also the one thing that will calm your inner critic. So if you're plagued with self-doubt of, am I good enough? Activity is the best cure for that. And it can be a small action, but you need to be in action to kind of shut that little chatter up that's on your right shoulder. And so it applies to what Christine was saying, but also for the inner work, which is what those great leaders do, is they find a way to quiet that inner critic and leverage their connections.
Does that inner critic happen with everybody? Because I know it happens with me all the time.
Sure.
It's like weekly or maybe even every other day for me. Like, why am I the leader here? Why am I the person that, or am I good enough for me to be doing a LinkedIn Live for this audience? Like, is there somebody better than me? And I always feel like, that up and down roller coaster, right?
I'll tell you, yesterday, when you emailed me yesterday, 24 hours ago, and asked me if I want to be on, my palms started sweating. I'm like, oh my God, am I prepared? That kind of stuff. And then just decided to say, yes, this is an opportunity that came across my path, and it's an opportunity for me to say yes. So yeah, we all suffer from the inner critic, and it changes over time. There's no cure for it. The cure for it is really your strategy to identify it early before it takes you for a ride, and leverage it to say, what is this trying to tell me, to take that next step up on that staircase.
Yeah. And I was listening to some other podcast years ago, and they said, take I forgot the word now, take a 20,000 feet view of what's happening right now instead of being right in it. If you can take yourself out of the situation and look down into, like, pretend like you're on a plane and you're looking down into the city you're going to be landing in, and you see the city that maybe you're landing into Orlando. You see there's Disney over there, there's Universal here, there might be, hey, right now there might be protests happening over here downtown, there might be this. Then you get an approach for what you should be thinking about, what's actually the truth and what you're making up in your life. And I feel like I've done that, and I'm like, oh, now I see, like, and it's called clarity, I think.
Yeah.
That you see clarity in your life and this could be for anything in your life. I think you feel like you could do this for personal relationships. And sometimes you get it wrong and sometimes you get it right, but yeah, it's like ongoing and it never stops. So that's kind of like my thinking. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. That higher level view, because then you can see where things align. So if you can see where you align with a customer and what the expectations are, you now have a commonality. So you're now joined together. But yeah, what you say, the stories is we use making stuff up. And so I'll call clients on when they're making stuff up that isn't really true, and to say, okay, what's the story that's getting in the way here? To get them up a little bit higher, to say, okay, well, what's really going on here? And now where do I go? How do I plan my route?
Right. All right. So guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Guys, if you like this, hit the comments and hit the like button. We're going to pick a winner here. But before we go, I think we need to talk about the words and the hospitality phrases that make a huge connection, because I think people are on for the emotional side and the words. We've already talked about a lot of words here. And let me just share this one thing. And Christine, I'm going to go to you and maybe uncover some of the things, words and phrases that make a big difference right now while we're that our staff can use to communicate with the guest that's walking in, and they're afraid that you don't know what's happening at the hotel and how safe they're going to be. What are some words that and maybe you didn't use those words in the past, and now you can use them for guests that are walking into your door right now?
Well, like I say all the time, that 90% of what we do is how we say things. And that's really what the whole thing in the theme in the book is about turning your no's, I'm sorry's, unfortunately, into yes answers and just saying them in a more positive way. So again, changing the way we say things. And you had mentioned earlier about saying sorry. And right now, I know everybody's getting beaten up about, I'm sorry, we only have grab and go breakfast. I'm sorry, our pool is closed. So rather than saying, I'm sorry, thank you so much for your patience. and making friends for, oh, I realize that thank you so much for your patience. Our gym is closed for your safety. However, we also have these options. We've got a great hike. We've got a great walking path. We have stairs. We can put you on the top floor and you can take the stairs every day. And again, it's about being proactive and identifying what your can-dos are before you have to react and get all these guests that are upset. If you're ready to make friends first, tell them what they can do and offer options, you're going to be leading from the heart with great messaging rather than Jimmy beating up. I know, this sucks, I'm sorry. So it's really about proactive. And if you are not doing scenarios and talking about this every day in your huddles, and I know right now you might be huddling with just yourself, but prepare, what things are going to come in today? What's in the area? What's happening in the world? What am I going to be faced with today? And then maybe you get that first opportunity in the morning. You get that first question that, oh, okay, let's start thinking about that now, because that's not going to be the last time I hear that question. So again, identifying being proactive. There are so many ways I can go. There were a few particular phrases, and one being the F word. Fine.
Fine?
Fine. Yes, fine. And this is for any time now or any time in our hospitality worlds. All the time, people want to know, how do I find 34% of our guests do not tell us when they have a problem. They just leave and hit you bad on the survey or don't come back or do a negative TripAdvisor. And all the time we say, how was your stay? Fine. How was your room? Fine. The thing is, how are you? How was your stay? How was your room? Those are not really questions. Those are greetings. And people have been trained that when you're greeted, how are you? Your mama taught you, you say, you're fine. It's not really, they don't want to know how you are. It's a greeting. And that's the same thing we do in our hotels. But one thing that I would have all of our staff do is, instead of saying, good morning, how's everything in your room? Or how's your stay going? And get the F word, fine, we would say, what's one thing I can do to make your stay more awesome? And I'm going to tell you that produces, and it's hilarious because you're used to getting that fine question. And when you all of a sudden get words, again, the words we say, have it said to you in a different way, it literally processes different. This is scientific in your brain. And you will see your guest or your associate, whoever you're speaking with, or vendor even, physically, you will see them processing it. And I'll never forget Mr. Hutera. I said that to him, and he said, and he starts to walk down in the bistro to do his cream and sugar and his coffee. And he said, well, since you asked, I really like Dr. Pepper, but you don't sell that. I said, Mr. Hutera, you will always be able to get Diet Dr. Pepper here at the Courtyard Waukegan. And from now on, I stopped that. Then I found out about Mrs. Colleen. She loved her microfoam pillow. I went to Walmart. I bought her one with a special pillowcase. I can tell you 1,000 stories like this. But again, it's the words we say. Instead of saying, how was your stay? Say, what's one thing I can do to make your stay more awesome?
Yeah,
So
I love that. We're asking for extra, that one over the top. And, because when I stay at a hotel and they are like, hey, how was your stay? I'm like, oh, it's great. But they don't ask me that one extra question that could get me to say, what is actually one thing that you didn't like? Because we want to make sure that the next stay or your future stay is like amazing. And I feel like when you can pry in, like we talked about, that you uncover a lot more than, and I love asking why questions and what questions. And I think that uncovers, like, you get in deeper. Maybe they were feeling this other way about you, but they don't want to be confrontational, because I feel like in human nature, most people don't want that confrontation. Right. And if you don't go beyond to ask for it, then you will never get it. And you'll always be that dirty hotel that you didn't want to understand the truth from guests, right? Or that one thing that your hotel is lacking. And if we don't ask and uncover, then fix it, right? And so
Right.
I like that extra
And,
one.
and again, 34% of our guests don't tell us that they have a problem. And so a lot of those was asking that question the way I did also brought out special sweet surprises I could do, but it also brought out concerns. So when I would ask that way, sometimes guests would say, well, actually, my toilet's running, or actually my AC is not working really well, when they normally would have just said, fine. Now I'm able to take care of it, do something extra special for them, and take it to that next level. So that is a great one. I love also, there's a few words I love to talk about, changing them. So, and also at the end of this, I'm going to have a link where I have a list of words, a Pineapple Pro Tip free source for all of you that have cut that and say this. So I've got a lot of examples. And one of them is the power of get and the power of yet. So the power of get, all the time we'll say, oh, I have to, it's Monday, I have to go to work, or this is one of my used to be favorites that I'd say, I have to go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
No, I have to. It automatically channels your brain that this sucks. But if you change it to I get to go to work and serve a team and serve my guests and create a thriving community, how lucky am I? I get to go to the grocery store and buy healthy food so I can make dinners where my family gathers and we have great conversation and bond. When you change that from I have to do it, I get to do it. And it's funny because I always say that I get to work at Marriott. I get to run my own company. And I really do. I've always felt like that in all of my jobs. I love what I do. I get to do this. And people would always comment on that.
I love that. I love the difference between people understanding that.
Talk to it. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like I have. There's the power of yet. So just really quickly on both of those. I know so much as the senior manager of operations with Marriott. I traveled across the country supporting our Marriott Select brand hotels. And I usually worked with ones that were struggling. And so if I was working with one that just failed the BSA, which is the brand standard audit, I know how crushing that is. We put our whole identity into that audit. And when I would talk to them, I would see general managers that were on the edge because they failed. And I said, hold up, you did not fail anything. You have not passed the BSA yet. And within 60 days, they're coming back and you're going to ace it. Let's get to work.
Yet. I like that. Instead of just saying, oh, we failed or we failed in the past. No, we still have an opportunity. Like, this is not the end of the world. Like, just because you didn't get a job today because you're furloughed, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I feel like there's still opportunity as long as you try and you put the effort in, you have that drive in you. And sometimes you have to make yourself get up and go to the gym. And it's the same thing, like, I think in this situation where, like, we want to, here's what we failed last time, or here's what we didn't pass on, or here's the opportunity. If you were talking about the yet, here's the opportunity, and here's what we can get to. Oh, I love that. All right, so
thumbs up.
Here's my blog, and it's gotten, this is like 2,000. This is just the shares. They got 2,400 shares. But check this out. These are 5 hospitality phrases that guests remember most, and this is like evergreen. This is going to be like forever. So you guys can hit. Let me see if I even save the link. And I feel like, Christine, and I think Paula, you guys can probably agree that in the past, if we didn't say these words that were super important, that you still have that opportunity, right? And I'm not going to show this article to you. You can just go back to it. But here's a quick link. I made a quick link. tinyurl.com/5 hotel words, right? And so, like, the first one is just like, like it's my pleasure. I'm happy to do this for you, right? Thank you. Like, why do we not say thank you for staying with us? Like, we really appreciate at this time that you're staying with us, because I know you have a lot of choices. You might be concerned, Mr. Smith. we really appreciate you staying with us. And if you look them in the eye it's even better, and it makes more of a difference. And so these words that we're talking about, like, you know, and Christine, do you have a list of words that you? I know you talked about you have a quick guide, but can you just go through like maybe like 5 quick words, and then we can.
Well, here's one that I love that when I'm just listening. Connect. Okay, so for example, if you're on the phone and people say, "Oh, let me transfer you to this department." Transfer is such an ugly word. Thumbs down on transfer. When you say, "I'll transfer you somewhere," I'm getting rid of your baggage and I'm going to let someone else handle that for you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Instead, I'm going to connect you with the person that can help you.
Hold on. Guys, do you like the word transfer? Have you heard it before? Because I hear it all the time. I heard it yesterday, actually, on the phone for like 45 minutes trying to connect with somebody as far as, I think it was a bank or something. And they put me on hold and I was like, they're like, all right, hold on, I'm going to transfer you. Then I got transferred 5 times or 4 times. And I'm like, oh my God. So guys, comment and let me know if you've heard the word transfer in any business, because this is an opportunity for all of us. And so you're saying not transfer.
Think about how I'm so sorry. Think about how your service level can change with one word. And if we start making these little changes, these little tiny changes every day, the significance of the impact is monumental. Because not only does it change the way your guest receives it, but it also changes how you feel.
Yeah.
Oh, connect you with that person that can help you. You know, you change too. So that's one of my favorites. Here's a really a mental one. We often say, "Here you go. Here you go." You know, giving a cocktail or giving a bag or having breakfast. Here you go.
Here's your mask. Here you go.
Yeah, go, leave. Instead, here you are. Stay, have another drink. Here you are.
Here you are. Okay, God, I like that a lot.
Little simple things that change everything you do. 90% of what we do is how we say things. Obviously, problem. Here's one I love, and this was when I was doing a coffee chat with Erica Alexander at Marriott headquarters, and I was telling her my story. She was asking about me, and I was telling her about how Tim Conity, my AD, who brought me into Marriott, I was my first time general manager position, and I said he took a real risk on me, and she said, "Hold up," she said, "I have some advice for you," and I said, "Oh, I'd love it," and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, and she says. And this is at the very end of the conversation. She said, "I have some advice for you." She says, "You had mentioned how," and I wrote this in my book too, how Tim Conity took a risk on you. And she said, "You're an amazing leader. You're an award-winning leader. You're not a risk." It may have been a bold move. It may have been, what was the other one? Or a daring move, but you were not a risk. And I went, "God damn tamale, man." I'm a words girl, and I never thought about that one. And so again, that was such an impactful moment in my life. We are not risks, bold. We're daring. I love that.
Awesome.
Here's another mistake, and especially in HR, we often do, especially if you're a mom or dad out there, we often say, "You should. You should." Mm-hmm. We can never tell people what they should do. Here's a great way to change that, especially in meetings and things like that. Oh, consider taking a look at XYZ. Consider.
Don't say you should consider. Don't say you should consider, right?
So that's a great one. There was a couple that I wrote down that I want to make sure that I hit on. And I've got my list here. Here you go, the transfer, the don't. The word don't, our brains does not process the word don't. So I can say, and I have a book too, yes, don't think about a chocolate hot fudge sundae with nuts and sprinkles on top. Now, I'm sure everybody out there just imagined and tasted that hot fudge sundae. You do not hear what you say after don't. So what we want to do is talk about the positive behavior you want to see people do rather than the behaviors you don't want them to do. So instead of don't do blah, 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 I like it when you, etc. And when I learned about this scientific process that really how the brain receives that, I immediately thought about this. My daughter was driving, just starting to drive, and I immediately thought about myself saying to her, don't text and drive. And all she's hearing is text and drive.
Yeah.
Right? So from now on, I changed that to drive safely. You're the most important person in my life. And that gives me goosebumps again. It literally changes. Just a couple little words can change your whole life, honestly.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
And I love this. This is good for all of us that are entrepreneurs. But anytime you're in sales, we talk about a cost or a fee. And rather than that, it's an investment. Ooh, fabulous.
I like the investment because it's going to help me personally as far as an opportunity. So, man, these are awesome words. I think we can just talk about words for like hours and hours because there's so many words. We should maybe we should just have like another not a live, but like just a webinar that we just talk about words like this, do this, not that, do this, not that. Because there's so many people right now that are going to be coming back in, and they might have the experience, but there's going to be a huge brand new team of people that are like, oh, let me give a hotel a try because I don't want to be working in the box or that cubicle. I want to be out in the public serving people, and I think that's going to be an opportunity where they can learn these skills and these words to help them improve and change people's lives, because that's what you're doing when you're saying this word against that word. You're changing someone's mindset. You're changing the way they feel when we're talking about emotions. And you see me do this now. You see me do this before.
Your mindset.
Yeah.
And then listen, what you're feeling is going. Yes.
Yeah. And I think, have you seen me during the show? Like I'm doing this, like heart. I learned this from Kate Bueller. She was on a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, when you have gestures, when we're talking about emotions and we're talking about words, when you also use like the hearts, when you're doing that posture, I think that's important too. So pointing or don't do that, but you see a lot of hotels when they're like, it's over here. Yes, things like that is also an opportunity for you. So, all right. So listen, we're almost done. I'm going to pick a winner. Before we pick a winner, guys, hit the like button, and everybody hit the like button right now and comment if you've enjoyed this. I'm going to be picking 2 winners, actually. Christine, I didn't say this to you, but I'm giving away 2 of your books. And Paula, we're giving away some coaching sessions for the EQ assessment and the Energy
Leadership Index.
Energy Leadership Index. I think I want to do that because I want to make sure that I have enough energy. I think I do, but I don't know. So I'm going to be giving those away. Hit the comments and hit the like button right now, and we're giving away. All right, Paula, any last words that you recommend, and how can people connect with you? And I'll put up your website that you shared with me to.
Yeah, they can connect with me at the website is leadingupcoach.com, and email address is paula@leadingupcoach.com. So you can reach out to me either way. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook. So check out the material that I posted. I did a series on the pandemic, probably early March, to help people kind of think about how they're coming back in. And is this the time where it's what's the Panarchy model of, is this the time that you're meant to bloom after being, run over by a fire? Is this your time to just really burst forth? So take a look at that series, but I just love working with leaders and helping them find their groove and who they are as a leader, so that they can step into their own and really be that leader that they dream themselves to be. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more, Energy Leadership Index is a powerful tool. The Emotional Intelligence, or EQ, another powerful tool. And these are behavioral, so they're things that you can change. It's not personality. These are things, once you know about them, you can actively change them. So if you don't like your result, you can do something about it.
Yeah, the best part about having a test like this and having somebody else tell you, because a lot of times when you take it yourself, you're like, that's just a test that's telling me something. But when somebody can explain it to you, like, listen, there's some opportunity for you to grow in your career by doing these few things. That's an opportunity that you take in and take it seriously, because you could take all the tests in the world by yourself and then not do anything, right? But you have that coach. That's why people have gym coaches. That's why people have these life coaches. That's why they have coaches like yourself as far as leadership, because you have someone there to support you, because it's lonely out there. I'm telling you, it's lonely out there.
And no expectation of the outcome. So I'm not going to rate your performance review. I'm not going to be the one deciding your raise or not. It's completely objective, and it's all for the client. Nobody else is. I'm not accountable to anybody else. I'm accountable to the client.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Kate, or thank you so much, Paula, for being on, and I appreciate it. Christine, Trippi, tell us about what you have, and then after this, we're giving away a book, and we're going to give away these tests and assessments. And let's pull up your website real quick. And what is the live part after the wisepineapple.com? What does a live mean?
Wow. So I created a special secret page just for this Facebook Live, or not Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live. And you guys can go to that. You can subscribe. If you subscribe, you're going to get my top tips for recognizing associates or anybody in your life. As well, you'll be subscribed for my Wise Wednesday, which is coming out later today. Every week, just once a week, I send out a Wise Wednesday to be confident, empowered, and lead from the heart. So I'd love to help support you in everything that you do. As you can see, I'm bursting at the seams to help more. So also, if you want more of this great word stuff and how to always say yes, my book is Yes is the Answer. You can find my website as well. Also, if you want one that's signed, I would love to sign a copy for you. You can just message me, and I'll be happy to sell it to you personally, and then sign it for you and send it out to you. Also, big news coming out later today in Wise Wednesday. I'm going to be starting a new course called Pineapple Power, Sweet Hospitality, Sweet Cultures, and Sweet Results. It's 3 of my top 3 most popular courses all together, and will be 3 weeks, 1 a week. And I'm doing this, typically it would be about $900 that I do individually for hotels. I'm going to have up to 10 people so that it can still be great personal attention, and it's only going to be $97. And the 3 courses will be on Yes is the Answer, Problem-Free Hotels, and Sweet Cultures, mainly that huddle and coaching culture. So
I'm so happy you're doing this.
What's that?
I said I'm so happy you're doing this. I know we talked about this, and listen, I'm excited that Yes is the Answer. Go out there and get it on Amazon, and then also on the wisepineapple.com. If you want a signed copy, which I think most of you guys do. Christine's a star in the industry, and I appreciate her being on. And Paula, thank you so much for being on, guys.
Yes, thank you.
We will talk to you guys soon. And hold on. Actually, hold on. I wrote down 2 people that are going to win. And the first person is, and guys, congratulate them by hitting the like button and thanking them for being so active on this. And every week, guess what? Every week we give away some value that's pretty valuable. Some of it's been really expensive, and these guests have been happy to share with you. And all right, so the first winner of the free book, Yes is the Answer, and the EQ assessment and the energy level assessment is Sandra Rochelle. Congratulations, Sandra. And the second winner is Ashley. I'm going to get this wrong. I didn't write it right. I like scribbled it down. It is Ashley Kurskowski. So I'm sorry I didn't get it right, but congratulations, Ashley. Everyone knows who she is. She's been commenting like crazy, and I love that you're being so active in this discussion. Congratulations, Sandra and Ashley, on winning this, and we'll connect you 2 after the show, guys. Paula and Christine, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll talk to you soon, and we have to do this again. I think this is very valuable for everybody.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, it's been good.
I'll see you guys later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys, what did you think about this episode? I love the opportunity that we learned these words and emotions that we could take back to our team and inspire them to continue growing, because that's what we're here to do. Guys, this episode is sponsored by smartguests.com. Guys, don't forget, I am still offering, or I'm launching a hospitality leadership mentorship program. It's a membership program, and it's coming out. And I've been saying a couple weeks. It's still coming out a couple weeks. I think over 800 people have signed up now. As far as getting a notification when I launch this platform, it's going to be coaches. It's going to be coaching as far as online courses. It's going to be how to improve your hotel, how to improve yourself, how to get a job that you really love, and how to keep inspiring, and some of the stuff I talk about here on social media. So go to rupesh.co and just enter your name and email address, and I will let you know personally when we launch, so you have the opportunity to be the first to join this group, this community of people that are passionate about this and want to continue learning and growing. Because I'm not leaving. I'm here for like, I've been here for like 20 something years. I'm going to be here for 20, maybe more years than that, to continue to inspire you guys. Hit the like button and comment if you've enjoyed this. And guys, next week we have somebody awesome on again, and we will share those insights with you then. And guys, if you want to watch this episode, a replay, or share it, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Rupesh Live, and catch all the past episodes there. Subscribe, comment, and hit the like button over there. That way I see that you're enjoying it, and share this with your team. So what I like to do is, when I'm doing trainings, I show a clip of a video on YouTube of somebody, Shep Hyken, Chris, anybody that I feel like is valuable. So I'm more than happy to have you share any of these videos with your team. Take a snippet out that you really enjoyed, share 5 minutes of it, and then share the link to them so they can go back and watch the entire episode and help them grow, right? Guys, I really appreciate this, that you're here to support the hospitality industry. Welcome back if you're opening up this week. Welcome back if you opened up the last couple of weeks. Stay strong, take care of each other, and keep inspiring each other, because that's the only way we can do it, right? Be safe out there. Talk to you next week.